Hello there, welcome, and thank you for joining me on the How platform. This is the How platform where we share lessons about faith and lifestyle. And in the past couple of videos, I've talked about the principles that guides the How platform. So we started with clarity, and we said clarity is a function of light and truth. And then in the second video, I talked about courage because courage comes from stepping in before stepping out. So you have to find courage within you before you could leverage the courage that comes from others. And then last video, and please feel free to check them out. The links are in the bio and you can check the channel. So in the last video, we talked about consistency. Consistency is courage on repeat. When you repeat a process over the time, choosing courage over fear, then you build your consistency. A consistent person has integrity. A consistent product is a brand. And a consistent service is a vibe on its own. So while talking about consistency, I spent a couple of minutes to talk about how to become consistent. And I talked about paying attention to the process, paying attention to several things, including the environment and the system. But how do we pay attention? That's the question that you want to ask yourself. And that's the question that's been coming to my mind. And in this video, I just want to touch on calmness. Calmness, the process of staying still. The process of staying still and connecting to yourself. And connecting to yourself and bringing yourself, your spirit, your soul, and your mind together. Because whichever way you want to think about it, you are a tripartite. You're a three-component human being. You have a spirit, you have a soul, and you have a mind. Before I jump into the lesson about calmness, let me quickly share a story with you. And this story is going to make you laugh, and please feel free to laugh at me. That is totally fine. So when I've been telling stories about when I decided to start going public with this message and with teachings, I was a little bit fearful. I'm a very private person, and I felt like, okay, I'm going to be sharing a lot about myself, how comfortable I am. So when I set up the page on the Facebook, I thought to myself, okay, maybe a couple of people will follow me, and then we can start with that. I set up the page, and within 30 minutes, I found out that 6 friends, guy friends, already followed me. I shut down immediately. I was afraid. I thought, okay, so what's the strategy? So the initial plan was that I would start sharing the content I've been sharing with my small group, and I will start sharing it with the public, starting with the lessons on the currency of honor and going to the lesson on the things that destroy us, which I've been sharing last summer. So I wanted to build on that. That was the initial plan. But when I saw that the people that followed me, I might not be able to, I needed a strategy, let's sort of. So I grabbed my key. It was around 9:30. I remembered that night very well. And I went for a 90-minute walk. I didn't even hold my phone. Usually when I go for a walk, I will have my phone listening to music so that there's a music playing in my head. And sometimes I am listening to maybe a message or just thinking. But this time around, I needed my board to be on ground. And I dropped my phone and I went for that walk. And within that walk, I was just talking to myself, what's going to be the strategy? What's going to be the mission, the vision? Well, these questions have been on my mind even before going public, but the reality sets in and I have to question myself, what is my why? What is the how? How am I going to go about this? And during that 90-minute walk, a strategy came. Because at that point, I called the attention of my spirit and my soul and my body together. We were like in our board meeting and we were thinking, how are we going to go about this? And the strategy came and said, this is how we're going to start. We're going to start with the principles that build a successful life. You're going to start the content with clarity. And as you have seen me sharing the video weekly, these are the lessons that God himself has been giving me. And I started with clarity, followed up with courage, because when you have clarity, then there's going to be courage. When I received clarity on the strategy, the courage to start sharing the content came. And then when the courage came, it was easy for me to continue to go on repeat. And that is consistency. And for the past 5 weeks, I've been sharing it. But today, I want you to know that when you know the agenda, when you know the why you're doing something, and who is giving you the mission, who is giving you the agenda, then you know what to do. So I knew this is God's own agenda, and I wanted God to be the one to run the show. I didn't want to put myself in. And the lesson that I'm going to share with you today is about calmness. Be still and know. Be still and know. When I took that 90-minute walk, it was my calmness. I paid attention to what my soul was telling me. I paid attention to the strategy that are coming to my mind. And I paid attention to my body. I paid attention to the emotion that I'm sensing within my body. That is calmness. Calmness is bringing your spirit, your soul, and your mind together in such a way that it aligns with the will of God, or the will of the one who has called you into that purpose. So there's one prayer that always comes to my mind is about, let my desires be situated in His will. Whatever I run, I want to make sure the intention is right. I love people, I love knowledge, and I wanted to share the knowledge I have with people. So the calmness gave me my strategy. The calmness taught me how my environment is going to look like. In that calmness, I found the structure that I was going to use for this platform. In that calmness, I found the system that was going to work for me. And in that calmness, I was able to find my individual. I'm not here to do what other people are doing. I'm not here to be competing with other people, because I found calmness in my own self. A philosopher said, to thy own self be true. When you have found calmness in your own self and you are true to your own self, you have an unusual confidence. So before I jump into how to find calmness, let me quickly talk about, when do you need to find that calmness? When the pressure is high, you need to converge your board of directors together. And by the board of directors, I mean your spirit, soul, and mind. You want to leverage your spirituality either through prayer, either through study of the Word of God, or your meditation. You also want to check on your mental wellness. Whatever you're doing that takes away your peace, that takes away your confidence, is not worth doing at all. You also want to check with your body. How is your body responding to this? Are you feeling stressed? Is your blood pressure going up? Then there's something to be done. I'm an economist. I am not a doctor, and I am not going to go into some technical term around calmness. And there are several resources out there on calmness from Eckhart Tolle. There's a Calm app, and this is not an advertisement, but there are resources out there that you could leverage. But calmness is very, very important, because in your calmness, you're going to build your confidence. In your calmness, you're going to find your courage. In your calmness, you're going to be able to pay attention to all the system, the process, the environment, the timing. Jim Rohn said, when your why is strong, your how is easy. And I'm going to add this. When your how is easy, your when is clear. Knowing when to do something is the struggle that I see around. People they have an idea, but they don't know when to launch the product. They have a book in their hand, but they don't know when to publish the book. When your how is clear, your when is clearer. So calmness. When or where do you find calmness? Calmness is something that you have to pay attention to your body. When there is a pressure that looks like it's becoming a lot, that is when you need to find your calmness. When you're tired, that is the time to call your spirit, soul, and body together and find your calmness. When you feel pressure to please people, that is the time to check out and check in. When your peace is at stake, that is the time to shut down, even turn off your phone and find your calmness. When there is a new discovery and you want to learn more about it, that is the time to find your calmness. So I want what I'm going to be sharing with you about calmness as something that I've applied to my life, and I'm just going to be using some biblical examples, starting with God. So back to that Genesis 1 and 2, after God created everything, on the sixth day, we saw that God created animals and then he created human. He created Adam first and then he brought Eve because God wanted God knew that somebody, human being, needs to keep Adam's company. God's strategy is human. God created human so that he can walk without lifting a finger. Human beings are God's strategy. And I'm taking that from Stephanie Hike. So God created human on the sixth day, and on the seventh, God rested. He rested. Every day, there's a morning, there's an evening, and then the next day. We are not built to be working 24/7. We are not built to be running our agenda or running our life like it's our home. Like I've mentioned, we have a spirit, we have a soul, and we live in a body. You see this body that we have? That is the only container that we need to be able to exist on planet Earth. If anything happens to this body, it is over. So stop stressing yourself. Ask yourself, why do I need 2 full-time jobs? The blood pressure is already showing that I'm stressed. Why do I need to be keeping full-time job? Why do I need to be picking calls when I'm not ready to talk? Why do I need to respond to text messages while I'm driving? Why do I need to talk when I don't have anything to say? When you check all these reasons why we are stressed, you will see an undertone of insecurity in it. The desire to please people, the desire to please men. Like I said, always ask yourself, whose agenda? If it's God's agenda, then it should not be stressful. Either you're running a business or you're running a ministry or you're leading a government organization. If it is God's agenda, stress should not be in it. And I'm going to quickly share with you what you need to do. If you're already stressed, there are some things that you need to do to be able to overcome this. And I'm going to start with that Genesis 1, talking about God. We saw that on the seventh day, God rested. Be still and rest. You can't be God in your own life and you can't be God in other people's life. You can't give everybody all of your time. It's going to be stressful. The pressure is going to build up. We saw that God himself rested, and you should rest. You should take some time off to take care of yourself, to think about yourself, to take care of your body. Some of the things I do when I want to rest, I just play music, I listen to worship song, and I sing. I like dancing a lot. I dance. Sometimes I'm twirling in the hair, I'm going for a walk, and I'm just dancing. And sometimes I'm just worshiping. I take pleasure in worshiping. I take pleasure in worshiping. I take pleasure in worshiping you, Lord. And I just want to praise you, Lord, and lift my hands to say. And sometimes in the middle of that song, I am calm and I sleep. Sometimes I shut down my phone. I call it phoneless weekend, and I sleep. Be still and rest. The second area to be still is be still and know. In Genesis or Exodus 14, the Israelites, they were at the verge, at the Red Sea, and they didn't know what to do. And Moses said, the Egyptian that you have seen today, you are not going to see them anymore. Just be still and know. There are several things that you cannot learn or know until you're still. In that apprenticeship, whatever you're learning now, either you're learning to bake or you're learning to start a business, you have to be still to know. When it comes to knowledge is not something that you rush. You have to be still to know. When you are gathering information, you have to be still to know. So I've talked about be still and rest. I've talked about be still and know. I want you to say, be still and see. There was one woman in the Bible, particularly it was also in Genesis. The lady was working with Abraham's wife, Sarah, and at some point she decided to leave the house and she was stranded in the desert. The water she had with her was all gone. And she thought to herself that she was going to die with her son. She had planned to die. But God opened her eyes. She was still and she saw. And then she saw it well. You need to be still to be able to see the opportunity around you. You need to be still to be able to see the needs in your environment. We are not just called to be Christians, just to fellowship or just to worship at our church. We are called to the needs in our environment. You need to be still to see the needs of people. We're not just called to be content creator on social media while our neighbor is struggling. We are called to be still and see the opportunities around us, and see the things in our culture, and see the things in our environment. Another area to be still is be still and learn. The story that comes to my mind was around Martha. I'm sure you have heard about the Mary and Martha story in the Bible when Jesus came to visit them, and Mary just sat at the feet of Jesus and was just listening to Jesus, and Martha was busy cooking, making food, making sure she wanted Jesus to be pleased. And then at some point, because she was trying to please Jesus, at some point she felt like, oh, Mary is not helping me. Because when you are trying to please people, you're going to be questioning others. You're going to be questioning why others are not helping you. You will be serving it because you're running it as your own agenda. And that comes with stress. So Martha was stressed, and then she approached Jesus. Jesus, why didn't you tell my sister to come join me? And Jesus said, no, Martha, Mary has chosen the right path. As women, we have to be still and learn. Learn about yourself. Study yourself. Learn about the things around you. You have to be still and learn. Jesus told Martha, Mary has chosen the right thing. There are times you have to shut down talking to people, shut down going on social media, shut down going on your phone, and just sit down at the feet of your Lord and learn. Because that is where you're going to find the strategy. That is where you're going to get the information. That is where you are going to get the revelation. That is where you are going to find the intelligence to pursue the agenda. The last area that I want you to know about being still is you have to be still and sit. Some of us, we like doing so many things. We are all over the place. Today we are starting a catering business. Tomorrow we are content creator. The next minute we are doing something digital. Next minute you are doing something with AI. Sit. Find a mentor. Be still and sit and learn from them. There is a lot of knowledge, calmness, quietness, peace that comes with calmness. The blessedness of calmness cannot be overemphasized. In this age that everybody is doing everything fast, we want it quick. There's a lot of impatience out there. Calmness is going to deliver the results that you need. Calmness will deliver the peace that you need, either in pursuing that business goal or pursuing that ministerial goal or pursuing that agenda. Calmness will bring you that peace. Calmness will bring you that confidence. Calmness will build your courage. Calmness will help you to be silent so that when you speak, people pay attention. Thank you for joining me on the Our Platform. This is the Our Platform.